When I joined Ashwood High, I didn't expect anything strange. New town, new school. All I wanted was to fit in and stay out of trouble. Yeah, my new class was 9B. The moment I stepped into the room, I felt it. Cold. Like someone had opened a freezer. Everyone was chatting, laughing. But one seat was completely untouched. Third row, near the window. The chair was pushed in. The desk was spotless. Not a single bag or book there. And then I saw her. A girl, pale face, black braided hair, wearing an old-style school uniform, too neat for this century. She sat quietly in that seat, looking straight ahead, but nobody else looked at her. Not the teacher, not the students. At first, I thought, maybe she's just shy, or maybe new, like me. But when I turned to ask my partner who she was, he blinked and said, "Who?" "The girl in the third row." He looked at the seat and laughed nervously. "No one's sitting there, bro. That seat's been empty forever." My heart thudded. I just saw her, and she was sitting there seconds ago. But now, the seat was empty. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing her face in my head, her eyes wide, like she was trying to warn me. But about what? I convinced myself it was stress. New place, new faces. But the next day, it got worse. The next morning, I walked into class early, just to check. The room was empty. Sunlight poured in through the dusty windows. Everything looked normal. But that seat, the one in the third row near the window, it was pulled out now, like someone had just gotten up. And on the desk was a file. Not a school file. A dusty, yellowed folder, the kind you'd find in a hospital or police station. It had no name on it, just a single number. 206. I opened it. Inside were black and white photos, blurry and old. But in one of them, I saw her, the same girl from yesterday. She stood in front of the school, smiling faintly, in that same neat uniform. The photo had a date on the back, 1997. That made no sense. She looked the same, exactly the same. Suddenly, I felt cold breath on my ear, and a voice, so quiet it barely existed. "Help me." I dropped the file and jumped back. No one was there. When my classmates arrived, the file was gone. I checked the desks, empty again. But now I knew I wasn't imagining it. At lunch, I told my best friend Maya everything. She didn't laugh. She just stared. Then whispered, "I've heard of her. I think her name was Rhea." She looked around, leaned in close. "People say she went missing from room 206. It was locked after that. But sometimes, you still hear her crying inside." After school, I couldn't stop thinking about what Maya said. Room 206. No one ever talked about it. Teachers avoided it. Students never went near that hallway. It was down the old wing, past the library, where the lights flickered and the walls smelled of mold and silence. I had never seen it open, but now I had to know. That evening, when the last bell rang and the hallways emptied, I waited. I pretended to tie my shoelace near the stairs, letting everyone leave. The janitor gave me a weird look but didn't say anything, and then I moved, down the hallway, past the library, into the dead wing. Every step echoed louder than it should have. It was quiet, too quiet. Room 206 stood at the end, door faded, metal handle rusted, and a large X scratched into the wood. As I got closer, the temperature dropped, my breath turned misty. The air smelled like old rain and something rotting. I reached for the handle, and it turned, easily. Inside, the room was dark. Dust floated like snowflakes in the pale light, leaking through broken blinds. Desks were overturned, chairs scattered, like students had run from something, or someone. But there, at the center of the room, was a single desk, upright, clean, and behind it, the girl, Rhea. She looked up, her face pale, eyes hollow, lips stitched with silent pain. She didn't speak, just pointed. Behind me, the door slammed shut. I tried to run, but the floor stretched like a nightmare. The walls pulsed, The chalkboards began writing by themselves. Help her. She's still trapped. Suddenly, a sharp wind slammed me to the floor. A shadow stood above me, tall, twitching, covered in something black and dripping. It wasn't Rhea. It was something else. She opened the door. It growled. Now you belong to us. I screamed. I don't remember how I got out. Maybe I ran. Maybe I blacked out. But I woke up at home, floor muddy, shoes still on, hands scratched. But I was alive. The next day, room 206 was sealed again, welded shut. No one believed me, but Maya did. She showed me something, a photo from an old school album. It was Rhea, and behind her, in the shadows, was that thing. I still walk past room 206 sometimes, and when I do, I hear scratching from inside. Not loud, just enough to know she's still there, and so is it.